And a very good morning to you all, our highly esteemed viewers and audience out there. And it's good to have you on board another edition of Guest of the Month, our monthly flagship program. And in case you are tuning in for the very first time, here is where we engage quintessential Nigerians, eminent citizens, achievers, people, men and women who have carved a niche for themselves in various fields and spheres of endeavor, people who have been an inspiration to the upcoming generation. We engage them for 2 straight hours each month, and they talk about their life experiences, they talk about their achievements, they talk about the state of their nation and the state of our country, our nation and our world. Well, that in a nutshell is what we do on Guest of the Month. My name is Tola Teriba, one of your anchors on the program, and of course I have with me my co-anchor.
Yes, it's always a great delight to be with you. How are you today? Hope you're enjoying your morning, and of course it's going to be a wonderful day. Just be positive in everything you do. If you approach the day positively, it will help you a great deal. Like Tola said, we are here again to bring you an exceptional personality, and we're going to have a wonderful time having him with us on the set today. So do join us. You're most welcome.
All right, today on the program, we are having another of society's juggernauts. Well, like I said, one who has proved his mettle in this particular field of professional endeavor. Is also a shining light in politics, and is particularly an inspiration to the upcoming generation. But before all, let's take a peek at the profile of our guest as we unravel his identity from our studios.
Engineer Muftau Opun Salau, FNSC, is an Ogbomoso-born son with core values of hard work and integrity, a life ambition to actualize self and thereafter contribute demonstrably towards the reduction of poverty in the immediate world around him. Engineer Muftau Opun Salau is a professional graduate of London Business School, London, Harvard Business School, Boston, in the United States of America. He bagged his first degree from Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State. He attended the Federal Polytechnic Bida, Niger State, for his secondary school. He attended Government College, Bida, Niger State. Engineer Muftau Opun Salau holds a Master of Engineering, Civil Engineering, Structural Engineering, Postgraduate Diploma, Civil Engineering, Higher National Diploma, Civil Engineering, Transportation. Is a fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, FNSC, fellow Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers, fellow Nigerian Association of Technologists in Engineering, member Nigerian Institute of Management, a member Chartered Institute of Waste Management in UK, Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN. As a career of Nigerian Society of Engineering, Opun Salau career achievements include participating in developing 12 estates with over 3,000 housing units in the last 10 years. Such includes 65 duplexes at Utako, Abuja, and many multi-billion naira projects which have offered direct employment at both managerial and non-managerial levels to over 150 persons and engaged over 100 big-ticket contractors who have in turn employed labor. Engineer Opun Salau has supported governmental programs, schemes, and organized bankrolled a number of skills acquisition workshops and empowered participants in various ways such as provision of startup capital, laptops, and basic tools and equipment. He was the executive chairman of Oyo State Project Performance in 2024, executive assistant to the Oyo State Governor on projects in 2023. He was the special advisor to the Oyo State Governor on Works and Transport in 2019, Federal House of Representatives aspirant under the APC in 2018. and member coordinating committee, Muhammadu Buhari presidential campaign in 2015.
So now you know. Our guest, well, he's an accomplished civil engineer, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and the Institute of Civil Engineers. He has been to two of the world's best business schools, in two of the world's best Ivy League universities. And he has also served as executive assistant to the Oyo State governor on projects. He was special advisor to the Oyo State government on the works and transport, and is currently the executive chairman of Oyo State Projects Performance Agency. He's also a member of the political class. That's why I refer to him as a shining light in the politics. Our guest on Guest of the Month this morning for the month of April is Engineer Muftau Opun Salau.
Yeah.
Welcome to the program, sir.
Nice to have you join us, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Good morning, viewers and listeners at home.
Engineer Opun Salau, and I laid particular emphasis on that open. And I know this is something you must have answered so many times, but you will indulge us again this morning for the sake of those who do not know exactly what opened at the time of your birth. Was it the doors of prosperity? Was it the showers of blessing that were opened during? Why are you called Opun Salau?
Thank you very much. And as you rightly said, for the benefit of those that have not heard me saying this before, my name is Engineer Muftau Opun Salau. The open there simply means open. Open is open. Open doesn't have any other definition than open. But it's officially part of my name. It's not an alias. And I added it to my name at some point in my life. When I come across some colleagues that were also bearing almost the same name as mine, either Salau Muftau or Muftau Salau, we were at a gathering. And I said, okay, let me add something to my name to make it unique. And that's how Open was added to my name. And henceforth, all my credentials all carries Open as well.
But something must have inspired the word open, unless, of course, you are very, very deeply creative. So something must have inspired the word open. Why open? And why not engineer close?
Or maybe because some doors of opportunities got opened as at that time. Maybe that was when you found it.
Maybe, but, you know, as an engineer, you are very creative. You are trained to be futuristic. You can see things just like you are designing. You put things together, it's an art. You look at what could be there for you in the future and see what would be the best way to integrate yourself into the things of doing. And open, and beyond that, you know, Muftau is an Arabic name, and the meaning of Muftau is open as well.
Oh, I see. Well, it's a good thing you are making this clarification this morning, because the story I got was quite different. Someone told me that, or said that it was when you were about sitting for your final exams in secondary school, and a mistake was made, that instead of Okwe, it was written mistakenly by the authorities, the examinations body. They wrote open. And so, of course, that was never corrected. That was what I heard, that was not corrected. And you had to start bearing open. More so when you wanted to become a politician, so that questions are not raised as to the authenticity of your identity. So that was the story I heard, but now I'm hearing something different from you now, coming straight from you. So that's why I said that clarification, maybe it was a bit necessary, so that people will know what actually happened, why you bear open.
Well, in addition to that, it's never Okwe. There was no any ambiguity or mistake there. it's open, and open means open.
But moving on away from that now, I'd like to start off the interview with this. You are the executive chairman of the Oyo State Projects Performance Agency. Monitoring agency, yeah, monitoring agency. Now, in the course of doing this, carrying out your duties, have you come across things that you don't like? Because I know these are the reasons why projects have to be monitored. Have you come across things that you see that you do not like, especially as regards the matter of corruption when it comes to the implementation of projects?
Or maybe you would just say, what has been your experience, at least, taking up that responsibility, sir?
Thank you very much. As you know, that it's a newly created agency, so the system are newly formed, and you wouldn't expect a perfect system. And in life endeavor as well, every situation requires improvement, or rather, there is no situation that could not be improved upon. So it's out of that thinker that His Excellency Engineer Oluwaseyi Makinde, FNSC, think of creating this agency, which was passed through the House of Assembly and finally ascended and became a law to the state. So with the operation and the name as it implies, we are monitoring. From our experience, you know what monitors are right from school. When they say monitor, you know, everybody wants to see them as people that represent the eyes of the authorities, report things that are okay or maybe require some adjustment. So our job revolves around that name. And coming to your question that if we could have seen things that we are not okay with, yeah, there are things that we have seen that are not the way it should be, and there are many other things we have seen that are very okay. Among things that we have seen that that are very okay are the process of to be registered with the state government, and their documentation has to be scrutinized and ensure that they are qualified for the job. And they follow the normal process to get awarded. And that's when we now come in as a new agency to monitor the progress and the performance of this project. You will understand that when you talk about corruption, it's not just limited to projects or constructions. There are a lot of human endeavor that have accommodated corruptions as part of their runnings. So you wouldn't say that it is because we are doing this work, our purpose of doing it or the aim is to begin to chase after corrupt individuals. No. Do you want to say something?
Well, actually, I'm emphasizing this aspect of corruption because some of these corrupt practices have become very stereotyped, almost like a new normal. So just how powerful is that monster of corruption in your sphere of operation as the chairman of the Projects Monitoring Agency? And we won't hear that there are cabals within that sector encouraging corrupt practices within the government at various tiers and ministry departments and agencies.
Thank you very much for that question again. You see, when you talk about corruption, as I said, and you are not particularly assigned to arrest corrupt individuals, it could make your job very complicated when you start to look at the corrupt practice in this endeavor. But what you should do as a project performance monitoring agency is to ensure that the agreement you have with the government is well implemented. There are agencies saddled with that responsibility to look after corruption. That doesn't mean that when we detect what could be a corrupt practice, we should not raise alarm. We do, but that is not our primary assignment, and that should not be our primary assignment. Because when you talk about corruption, it's what could even take the entire years of our administration in fighting, and we may not have a headway. You see what Osaka are doing, Oyakas are doing, and the EFCC and co. So every day, the issue of corruption is an attitudinal thing. And I tell people in any forum that I have the opportunity that for Nigeria to be totally corrupt-free, our mindset has to be changed. There is to be reorientation of how we do things, okay? You talk about corruption, you know, it will amuse you that some people pronounce issue of corrupt practice or corruptions every day, but forgetting that even approaching a street light or traffic light, and they could not be patient for that 70 seconds that the light will change and they try to cross. What have you done? It's also a corrupt practice. So it's quite a wide thing, and in which if we start to engage on that today, maybe a larger part of this, our program will just be discussed on corruption.
Okay. Quickly before we leave that, sorry, Bola, before we leave that, there's also this thing that people say that authorities, the governments in Nigeria at all levels, prefer to build infrastructure rather than build people. And this has been responsible for some of these corrupt practices and even the vandalism of government projects. I don't know if prevention of vandalism is also under your purview, but they say when you build infrastructure, you don't build people. Someone called it stomach infrastructure, an ex-governor, now an ex-governor. So what do you think?
In fact, the attitude of our people, citizens, towards governments and projects and facilities are not always very encouraging. So
thank you very much. So that's what I mean by attitudinal change to the way we perceive things. We see government properties or infrastructures as belong to nobody and belong to everybody. So, but we, as an individual, we should understand the fact that the Nigerian as a whole has huge infrastructural deficit. And it is not just about government building infrastructure and refuse to build people. In fact, if you go through my website or my accolade, you see where they write build the people and free the nations. Building of individuals start from homes. That's parental guide and family values. It's important. It's not just about government. It's not just about you building or training a bad child and throwing them into the society and expect government to do wonder. No. That's why we all have to pay attention to the upbringing of individuals. It is our collective responsibility. It's not just about government. What government needs to do is to create enabling environment for people to thrive. How do government do that? They have to create infrastructures that are people-oriented, good schools, health system, good roads, you understand, transport system that will help people, citizens, to be proud to be part of the society. And that will now transform to the way the citizens also react. So for a government that know the needs and know the importance of the infrastructures, it will definitely approach that to build that. So if government is building schools, you can say government is not building people and is building schools. You okay? It is you that will ensure that all your wards are in school. The government has already built the school. Okay? Government will build a good road, provide easy transport system. It is you now that will now create that movement. Engage, integrate into the system.
You won't appreciate those things when you are hungry.
Okay. Now, when you talk about hunger, it's a different thing entirely. We should all understand that government cannot provide everything that we need. Government can't do that. But in advanced society, where things are really working better than ours, you see that there are individuals, private sectors, that come into the system and build businesses that will support families, that will employ people, okay? If you look at it, in the period in which Dangote came into business, you can see the size of people he engaged and he employed. Imagine us have thousands of Dangotes. The issue of unemployment will definitely be reduced. And it varies. It's not just a straitjacket for every state. Like our state now, we are blessed with a fertile soil. There are need for us to embrace the modern system of agricultural businesses. And if you pay attention carefully to this government of Engineer Sheikh Makinde, one of his priority is to institutionalize agribusiness. And I will encourage people to please embrace these programs and get involved in it. Don't just fold your arm and think it's one of those things that government used to pronounce. You have seen the kind of governor that you have. It's not a gesture and it's not a frivolous kind of person. It's somebody that is focused, and when he says things, he means it and he pursues it. Take him very serious on this as well. All these agri-co-op that we keep discussing and we have created, people should come out and embrace them. Pick a literature about all this, our agri-co-op and business, study it and see what area you can come into, okay? We have seen people succeed. In fact, before the advent of these technologies, the richest people in Americans are farmers. I can say that categorically. They are farmers. And why not we? And God that created us know the reason why he created Oyo State. We that were there, why we're here, why we are not in rivers or Bayelsa, where there is oil. But we are here for a purpose. We should take advantage of those purposes and make advantage of it. So in that area, if we also able to provide for our families and also try to reorientate people that have that sense of entitlement, people that are not also ready to work, that just felt people will give them money, or government will provide the money. No. So all those aspects, we also need to help government to pass that information across. That it's not just an automatic thing. For those of you that are working here, you know how diligent you are, how you wake up very early to report here to work, how you keep to the rules of engagement here, and most of you will be here till evening before you close. Some will close very late at night and be here very early in the morning again. And why some lazy people will be sleeping at home and say that, you sure you understand all this? So we have to keep encouraging each other. And for those that are also sleeping, we need to let them see the reason why they should work. You can't beg throughout your life. Yeah. In fact, the harms that you are receiving now can only sustain you to an extent. And if you keep begging someone, or no matter how close they are to you, except if it is your mother, you go there today, they give you some harms, tomorrow, next tomorrow, it will get to a point they will ask you, oh boy, what is wrong with you? So we just need to understand this thing in a more broader way. It's not just about stomach infrastructure. If you talk about stomach infrastructure, you can see what the federal government has been doing. In every situation when there is crisis or everything, they send rice. If there is accident or crisis, they send rice. Okay, that is stomach infrastructure. Has that solved the problem? Or can that solve the problem? It can't. Even if you are given a rice now, you won't just cook rice and start eating it just raw, isn't it? So it's beyond that. Government should create enabling environment, a good transportation system, healthcare system, and education. Everybody must have access to education. I feel very sad when I see people at that young age and they were not in school. It's not acceptable at this age. I keep telling people, fine, all of you may not have degree. As a matter of fact, it is not too important for everybody to have degree. But you must be able to read and write. You must be able to communicate with people. Even if you want to learn work, you should be able to read and write. At least, minimum acceptance to me is secondary school. Everybody should have access to school up to secondary school level. At that point, you will now decide if you want to go further or you want to, pick another thing to do with your life. All what we're doing now, look at what AI is doing to us. If you are a designer, you're a mechanic, as a matter of fact, the kind of vehicles that the manufacturers are rolling out now, this is not doom. I'm just telling you the fact. By next 10 years, any mechanic that cannot read or write will not be able to diagnose those vehicles any longer.
But from what you have seen, Engineer Muftau Opunsalao, how does politics affect project continuity in Nigeria, especially where a different political party takes over from the previous one at the ballot?
How does project continuity?
Politics affect project continuity.
Oh.
Where you have a different political party at the state level now, taking over from the previous one at the elections.
Okay. First, people that are reasonable, people that are proven to have good characters should be elected into elective offices so that they are coming in, whichever party they belong to, it doesn't matter. But they are coming in with a character, conscience. So whatever project that they inherit, they will ensure that they are brought to completion. One. Second, concepting project shouldn't be based on politics alone. It should be with the needs of the populace. Okay, imagine there is need to connect where we are now to the entire city. And the government started it. Then it couldn't finish it. Another government take over from that system. Are you now saying that the people that are working in this environment, we allow such government to rest when they cannot communicate or integrate with the larger society? So conception of projects is very important. Projects that are people-oriented, that people also know that they will benefit from such projects. But when projects are only political sighted, when the administration change, such projects will die.
And that has been what we've been experiencing.
So if you now look at the way I explain it, you can put it together yourself and make sure that people that have strong characters, conscience, and the fear of God are people that we elect into offices.
Well, you know why I asked this, Engineer Opunsalao?
Yes.
Well, I saw a lot of this happen, during the Abiona Ajimobi administration. I dare say one of the best governors that this state has had. But then, when it came into governance, it described the previous Alawakala administration, it described it as ground zero. And I remember one of the projects that was commenced by the Akala administration was that teaching hospital in Ogbomoso, your hometown. And at some point in time, the Ajimobi government allowed equipment, multi-billion equipment at that hospital to be taken away to Osogbo in Osun State. It was then jointly owned. The Lautech teaching hospital was jointly owned by Oyo and Osun. And he even was not interested in continuing with the struggle for sole ownership of Lautech by Oyo State. That which has now been achieved by Governor Seyi Makinde. So these are the kind of things that we see. Despite of course, ex-Governor Ajimobi was a very good leader, but then see where politics came in when it came to the continuity of projects that would have been made the lives of the people much better.
Well, I don't know if this is a question or you have already answered it by yourself.
But I want your thoughts, especially because that example I gave is domiciled in your hometown where you come from.
Well, fine. You see, governance require collegials. And what form the people around every governor matters or reflect on the decision they will be making. For instance, if you have advisors that are bad, there is tendency that the output of that governance may be not pleasant. But if you also have advisors that are proactive and purpose-driven, there is tendencies that you will do well at the end of your administration. But because of the specification or identification of a particular project, it's not just only that project that was not attended to when Governor Ajimobi took over. And that does mean that he did not as well complete some of other projects that Alawa Kala left behind. And there are policies, there are good policies, there are bad policies. Some might be as a result of bad policies. But one thing I want to tell you is that Oyo State has been very lucky to have the kind of governors that we've been having right from inception. And you can see how wonderful people praise Bola Ige, and then down to that of Olunloyo was very cut short. But you know, he was a very brilliant individual that maybe perhaps if he had spent more time in the governor of the state, maybe he could have surpassed that of Bola Ige as well. Now coming to Baba late Kola Kweshola and Lama Deshino and Baba Kabesi now and Alawa Kala, Ajimobi, then Governor Seyi Makinde. You can see the projections. There has always been better. Okay, that's why I said the government, the people of Oyo State are very lucky. So you can see that each successive governance surpass what their predecessors have done. So you see Governor Seyi Makinde did not segregate or discriminate between projects or whoever. All what he just look after is, this is a project. Do we have the fund to pursue it? Now let's go there. You get it done. Regardless of whoever has started the project. That's where I said that people with approving characters, conscience, and fear of God should be elected to post.
Irrespective of the party they belong to.
You see, party is a platform. The Constitution do not allow individual candidacy. Okay? So you have to present yourself to a party. And the party has to promote you. And that's it. But Governor Seyi Makinde made several road building projects and other infrastructures that were initiated by previous government. And he get them done and completed, and initiate many more ones. So conception of project should be people-oriented or people needs that you create those projects. So I can't really give you or tell you details or about what really transpired during Governor Ajimabi and the reason why it took those equipment down to Osun State. But important thing now is that when Governor Seyi Makinde came in, he tried to see what he can do to see that do not happen. And he demonstrated that in so many ways. First is that of same place like Lautech. By ensuring that Lautech becomes sole ownership of the state. People that are not within that community might not really know what impact that university is to people from Ogbomoso zone. They may not, except you live there. As we are saying now, that is the only cash cow to people of that community. The major source of redistribution of wealth. And you can see the stability that sole ownership has given to that environment. And
do you think states tend to suffer more? I mean, projects tend to suffer more under joint ownership by states, also drawing on the Lautech experience?
Not really. That experience of Lautech could be a bad experience, but that doesn't mean that states will suffer more under joint ownership. As a matter of fact, collaboration is one of the best way of running things.
So why then the clamor for sole ownership?
Oh, that has not really worked well for the system. You understand? There are some policies in local politics that created that setback. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good idea. Okay. But when we took over and have sole ownership of Lautech, the state has been able to pay more attention to the school, okay? And the resources has been deployed to the system. And the people that are in charge of the management of the school has also demonstrated very well. And it has been well managed, and you can see the stability. You can see zero strike period that we have, like what it used to be. So I think the system has done very well with that sole ownership of Lautech, both to the community, to the government, and to the student as well. You can see that it's quite, it's ages now that you see the student of Lautech tripping to the state capital to come and protest like the way it used to be before. So it shows something really worked.
Okay, let's go to housing. You worked extensively in housing development, you know, delivering thousands of units of houses. But still, housing is still largely unaffordable to Nigerians. Why is it so?
Housing is the third most important thing. I think the first is food. And then clothing and then shelter. So housing is a very important thing in our life, and the needs will always be increasing as the populations expand. The factors of housing deficit has always been there. We are not really ready as a nation to tackle this. We know that people will need house as much as they need clothes and their food. So the system needs to be more proactive. Proactive in the sense that the provisions will be there for people to be able to access housing. There is nowhere that you can say that housing has become so cheap that people can buy house anywhere. Even in the developed world, in UK, in American, people still discuss about housing. So it's a continuous thing. People will always agitate, discuss about housing. What government should take as priority at the national level is to create a policy that will make people to access houses, regardless of where you live or what you earn. And back to your first question, that is one of the instruments or hodge for corruption. When people cannot be able to have quality accommodation, and you see the drive and the quest for them to even take what never belongs to them, just to be able to take care of that. But if government has created a system that is described as mortgage system, nobody will want to build houses the way we are doing it in this country. I sympathize with our people. I felt very worried when I see the stress they pass through in trying to put blocks and sand together building houses. As a matter of fact, anytime I taking off from the airport, wherever airport, I try to look through the windows and see the level or the way the scattered buildings in undeveloped or infrastructural serviced area. And the question that comes to my mind is that, for instance, let's assume those houses that were scattered as you are taking off from the airport in some unserviced area are just put to 2,000 in numbers, and each person has put 2 million or 3 million in those places. If you multiply that by that number, it's into billions. So now, this is what it means to the economy. Some of us have decided to put billions of naira into unused place. So it's as good as mopping the money within the system and go to keep it elsewhere, where it's not working for anybody. And we'll be complaining that we are poor. And that's the reason why we are poor. A friend or somebody very close to me asked for assistance, which I provided. The next I heard that he has gone to buy a land in a very far place that I know in the next 10 years, infrastructure may not get there. And then when he came to me, I was like, kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀? Wá, èmi náà láti nílé lórí ni. I said, wow, yeah, I understand. Only láti nílé lórí. But if you could have put this money into business, the turnover from it will be able to take care of you. And perhaps you can now take from the excess you get from there to now start building your houses. But not I just went to somewhere with the entire money and buy a land in a unserviced area. It became a problem. And that's what is happening all over. Because the national has not been able to fix our housing problem. Now, if there is a working mortgage system, the way it works in other places, this is, we are in BCOS now. They employ somebody into BCOS today. By the time the appointment is confirmed, such person can approach a developer that, look, I am a staff of BCOS. I need a house. The developer will look at what the person is earning. What is the age that you have left in service? Now, they will advise you, my brother, you've just been employed, a fresh graduate, you're 20 years old. you retire when you are 60, or by the time you put 30 or 35 years into service. Now, we can give you a house which you will pay back within 30 years. All what you need to do is to get 5% of that, the value of the house. So you go back to the market, search for a house. If the house is 10 million naira, all what they need from you